terrifying. Psychic who predicted 9/11 now warns of 2025 disaster. Part 1 and 2. Welcome to the Journey of Wisdom. Today we explore a chilling prophecy from a forgotten seer whose visions once predicted 9/11 and now point to something even more profound in 2025. But beyond the mystery and fear lies a deeper message, a call to awaken, to prepare, and to choose who we wish to become in the face of uncertainty. This video isn't just about predictions, it's about transformation. So, as you watch, ask yourself, how am I preparing my heart for what's to come? Do you believe in the power of intuition and ancient insight? Let's begin the journey together. Number 1. Who is the seer? Across the ages, there have always been whispers of those rare individuals who can see beyond the veil of time. People whose minds seem tuned to a different frequency, picking up fragments of events yet to unfold. While history is full of charlatans chasing fame, fortune, or control, every so often someone emerges whose words strike a chord so deep and disturbingly accurate that even the most skeptical pause to listen. We've all heard of Nostradamus, with his cryptic verses that scholars link to figures like Hitler, whom he called Hister. And many know of Vanga, the blind prophetess from the Balkans, whose visions eerily described the events of September 11th, long before they occurred. But there's another name, almost forgotten, almost erased, not because her predictions were dismissed, but because they were too close to the truth. Her insights, so chillingly precise, have been buried, hidden away under the label of national security, and now, in the quiet shadows of recent discovery, her voice calls out again. In 2023, deep in the quiet mountains of Bulgaria, a monastery untouched by time revealed an astonishing find: a sealed collection of writings from this unknown seer. These weren't vague ramblings or symbolic poems open to interpretation. They were detailed, clear, and shockingly aligned with recent global events. Independent experts, many of whom had no prior interest in prophecy or the paranormal, reviewed the writings and confirmed their authenticity. The woman behind these messages passed away in 1982, but the power of her words seems to echo louder with each passing year. One of her most haunting predictions was dated 1973, where she wrote, "When the twin giants fall in the new world, it marks the beginning. 2 decades and 2 years later, the great waters will rise and the sky will ignite." Looking back now, we see the twin giants as a reference to the World Trade Center. And precisely 22 years after that tragedy, in 2023, the world saw unprecedented floods and extreme atmospheric phenomena, events that scientists still struggle to fully explain. But it's what she saw for 2025 that has left researchers shaken and even fearful. Her writings become erratic at this point, as if the intensity of her vision overwhelmed her ability to write. The ink runs, the handwriting trembles, and parts of the manuscript seem scorched or smeared, as though the future itself resisted being captured. What remains suggests a year of profound disruption, but not just in the physical world. She speaks of a global shift in human consciousness, a monumental awakening that could challenge our values, our relationships, even the systems that hold our societies together. It's a message that seems both a warning and a call. In our world today, where we are pulled in every direction by technology, division, fear, and distraction, such an awakening may be exactly what we need. but are we ready? The lesson here isn't just about predicting the future. It's about how we prepare our hearts and minds for change. We may not all believe in seers or visions, but what this story teaches us is to pay attention, to slow down, to stay grounded in compassion and clarity, especially when the world feels uncertain. Wisdom doesn't always come in loud moments. Sometimes it arrives in quiet, hidden places. A monastery in the mountains, a scribbled note from the past, or a voice whispering in the silence of our own conscience. As we move toward 2025, let's not just brace for disaster or marvel at predictions. Let's focus on how we treat one another, how we live each day with intention, and how we keep our inner light steady even when the outer world trembles. The greatest prophecy may not be in foreseeing events, but in choosing who we become in response. Number 2. Key predictions and timeline. 1. Big change is coming. Something big is happening, and not just in politics or the economy, but on a deeper level, one that touches the very heart of what it means to be human. According to a prophecy that's gaining more attention by the day, we're moving toward a massive transformation, something that will reshape both our outer world and our inner lives. And what's even more striking is that this isn't about fear, it's about awareness, about recognizing the signs before they pass us by. The first of these signs already appeared in December 2024, when astronomers detected a strange, unexplained signal coming from deep space. It wasn't just another blip or glitch, it was a pattern, deliberate, structured, and beyond anything naturally occurring. While most of the world didn't notice, those who study these patterns saw it as a wake-up call. Something is reaching out, or perhaps trying to warn us. Could this be connected to the discovery in Antarctica, a non-human artifact hidden beneath the ice that defies every known category of science and history? This leads us to what's being called the Great Shift. It's not just a technological leap, though tech will play a huge role. It's spiritual too. We're approaching a crossroads that will ask each of us to choose. Do we stay trapped in systems of greed, division, and fear? Or do we rise to something more compassionate, unified, and wise? And here's the most urgent part. This choice isn't just abstract or someday far away. The prophecy gives a date, August 15th, 2025. By then, humanity must make a spiritual and existential decision. What path will we walk? What kind of future will we allow to unfold? Right now, we're in the middle of the second sign, a quiet but powerful shift in global economic systems. We're seeing alliances form, currencies shift, and traditional power structures tremble. Things that once seemed certain are now fluid. Can you feel that uncertainty? It's not chaos. It's the soil where something new can grow. But the prophecy doesn't end there. The third sign, the one many fear most, is predicted to reveal itself exactly 73 days from now. What could it be? A natural event, a technological breakthrough or breakdown, or something more difficult to grasp, like a collective awakening or mass confusion? The storyteller doesn't offer a clear answer, only a chilling suggestion. We must be ready, not just with supplies, but with clarity of heart and mind. So, what does this all mean for you? Are you simply watching the world change, or are you preparing yourself to be part of what comes next? These signs, if real, don't demand panic. They call for reflection. They ask you to pause and ask, am I living in alignment with truth, with compassion, with what really matters? Whether or not you believe in prophecies, the message remains powerful. Change is coming, and how we respond, not out of fear, but with wisdom, will shape the future. The lesson is simple but deep. Stay awake, stay kind, and stay grounded. Because even when the world feels uncertain, our choice to do good, to not do harm, and to care for one another is always in our hands. 2. Predicted scientific and tech breakthroughs. Imagine being told decades ago that machines would one day think like humans, that money would no longer be paper or coins but something invisible, digital, yet capable of controlling entire nations. Hard to believe, right? But one mysterious psychic, the same woman who reportedly predicted the 9/11 attacks long before they happened, also made startling predictions about our scientific and technological future, and those predictions are now beginning to unfold. According to her writings, we are on the edge of a breakthrough in quantum computing, so powerful it could change everything we know about time and reality itself. She warns of machines that don't just process data, but see across time into the future, giving elite organizations a terrifying edge in knowing what lies ahead. Imagine governments or corporations being able to predict wars, elections, or disasters before they happen. How might that shape the world we live in? Would it be used for the good of humanity or to control it? But it doesn't stop there. Her visions go even deeper, painting a picture of an approaching fusion between artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and even cosmic forces, something she describes as humanity standing at the ultimate crossroads. She speaks of a moment when we must choose between using these technologies to uplift humanity or falling into a path of manipulation and irreversible loss. What's most astonishing is that she described these ideas way back in 1982, long before terms like AI and digital currency were part of everyday conversation. Isn't it strange how someone with no access to today's information could speak so clearly about things we are just now beginning to understand? And if what she foresaw about our present is accurate, what might that say about her warnings for our future? So let me ask you, do you think we're ready to face such advancements with wisdom and compassion? Or are we racing into the future without fully understanding the cost? These are not just predictions. They're reflections of the choices we may soon have to make. What would you choose at the crossroads? If you've watched up to this point, you're already tuned in to the deeper truths most people ignore. Comment below with "Awakened Journey" to show you're ready to face what's coming and prepare with clarity, not fear. Don't go anywhere. Parts I and E reveal crucial warnings and insights you won't want to miss. Stay with us till the end. The future may depend on it. 3. The Hidden War. A well-known psychic who once predicted major world events, including the tragedy of 9/11, now issues a stark warning about a different kind of conflict brewing in the shadows. A hidden war that most people don't even realize is happening. This isn't a war fought with bombs or armies, but something far more subtle and deeply personal. It's a war of influence, where control is exercised not over land, but over minds. According to the psychic, we are already in the midst of it. The weapons used aren't guns, but algorithms, artificial intelligence, and carefully crafted narratives that shape how we see the world. This shadow war unfolds quietly, embedded in the news we consume, the social media we scroll through, and the technology we trust. It's a psychological battlefield where misinformation and surveillance silently influence decisions, beliefs, and even emotions. The psychic warns that this invisible conflict will reach its peak in late 2025, in what she describes as the Great Unveiling, a critical moment when long-buried truths and hidden agendas will be exposed on a global scale. While this may sound alarming, it also offers a powerful reminder. We must remain conscious, discerning, and grounded in truth. In today's fast-paced digital world, where information spreads like wildfire and attention is constantly being hijacked, the most important defense we have is awareness. It's essential to pause, question what we're told, and seek clarity beyond surface appearances. This is where ancient wisdom becomes especially valuable. Teachings like mindfulness and self-reflection help us anchor ourselves when the external world feels uncertain. The psychic's warning, rather than spreading fear, can be seen as a wake-up call to take back our inner power. In a time where so much is meant to divide and distract us, choosing compassion, critical thinking, and peace of mind is a quiet form of rebellion. As we approach 2025, may we not just wait for the unveiling, but prepare ourselves by nurturing a deeper awareness of what truly matters. 4. Consciousness and the nature of death. Let's talk about something that could completely shift how you see life and death, not in a mystical way, but through science. There's a powerful claim circulating that in 2025, a scientific breakthrough will change everything we thought we knew about consciousness and what it means to truly be alive. According to this source, researchers are on the brink of discovering proof of a connection between this physical world and something beyond it, a bridge between the living and the non-physical realms. What makes this different from spiritual beliefs or ancient philosophies is that this isn't just theory or speculation. This discovery is said to be measurable, repeatable, and undeniable. Can you imagine what that would mean for how we understand life? Suddenly, death might no longer be an ending, but a transition into another form of awareness. This shift wouldn't just inspire curiosity, it would redefine how we live, how we love, and how we face loss. If consciousness can exist beyond the physical body, what does that say about the soul, about purpose, about our connection to each other? These aren't just big questions, they're personal ones. Could this change the way you see yourself, your relationships, or even your fears? As we step closer to this potential revelation, it's worth asking, are we truly ready to let go of what we thought we knew and embrace a new reality? The message here is powerful. Science and spirituality may no longer be opposites, but partners in uncovering truth. If consciousness is indeed more than biology, then our everyday actions, thoughts, and intentions might echo far beyond this lifetime. The lesson is clear. Live mindfully, stay curious, and remain open to the wonder that, even in this modern age, there's still so much we don't yet understand, but might soon discover. 5. The technological threshold. Imagine a future where technology advances so quickly that artificial intelligence and genetic engineering begin to merge into something far beyond what we as human beings can currently understand. She describes this as a technological threshold, a point in time where humanity stands on the edge of creating not just smarter machines or modified bodies, but something entirely new. Something that could redefine what it means to be human. Think about it. What happens when machines can think, feel, and even evolve in ways that mimic or surpass us? What if we begin rewriting our own DNA, not just to heal or enhance, but to redesign ourselves completely? The prophecy suggests this convergence could unlock incredible capabilities, curing diseases, expanding lifespans, even enhancing intelligence. But it also raises a deeper, more troubling question: at what cost? The psychic doesn't just speak of scientific innovation, she gives a spiritual warning. She says that if we push forward without wisdom, without a deep awareness of who we are at our core, we risk losing the very essence of our humanity. In her haunting words, "When the machine forgets the soul, the species forgets itself." This isn't just poetic, it's a wake-up call. It urges us to ask, are we moving forward with intention and heart, or are we chasing power and convenience without understanding the spiritual consequences? As this threshold approaches, are we taking the time to reflect on what truly matters? Compassion, connection, inner peace? Or are we being swept away by the promise of control and perfection? So let me ask you, if you had the power to design a better version of yourself or the world, what would you change and why? And more importantly, how would you hold on to your soul in the process? This prophecy isn't just a prediction. It's an invitation for each of us to pause and look inward before we leap too far outward. The question isn't just whether we can do it, but whether we should, and how we choose to walk that path with awareness, humility, and compassion. 6. Gateways between dimensions. She speaks of a time fast approaching, a moment marked by rare celestial events that signal a turning point for humanity, a period she refers to as the Great Illumination. According to her writings, the skies will erupt in displays we've never seen before, as ancient cosmic alignments return for the first time in over 26,000 years. But she insists this isn't just a visual marvel, it's a gateway. A spiritual doorway between dimensions will open, granting brief but powerful access to what she calls the other side. And while that phrase may sound mysterious or even fantastical, her deeper meaning becomes clearer when we consider how science and spirit are slowly converging. She goes on to describe machines, advanced tools still in development, that will one day allow us to not only observe these cosmic events, but interpret them, perhaps even interact with realities we cannot yet fully understand. This vision may seem far off, but consider how quickly our world is changing. Technology is advancing faster than our ability to understand its full impact, and with that comes both wonder and danger. The psychic warns of organizations, those who operate in the shadows, who might attempt to manipulate these dimensional gateways for selfish or destructive purposes. She sees a future where quantum experiments carried out during these alignments could backfire in unimaginable ways. And that's why her message is as much a spiritual wake-up call as it is a prediction. She believed that our greatest protection doesn't lie in force or fear, but in awareness, conscious, collective vigilance. In a time when we're constantly distracted, staying aware becomes a radical act. So pause for a moment, breathe, and ask yourself, am I paying attention? Because only through awareness can we make wise choices, not just for ourselves, but for the world we're shaping together. As she urged, let's be mindful, not fearful. Let's seek knowledge with humility and use it with compassion. If you feel this message, type in the comments, "Awareness is power. I'm ready to awaken." Let this be more than a reaction. let it be a declaration of unity, courage, and readiness. Number 3. Steps to navigate the Great Shift. Now, let's get to the core of the prophecy and explore the key steps the seer laid out for navigating what she called the Great Shift. Her manuscript isn't just a warning about the chaos to come, it's a guide for moving through it. She describes the Great Shift as a time of deep transformation, when the very nature of reality will be pushed to its limits. But here's the twist. This isn't just about surviving, it's about evolving. The seer believes that humanity is standing at the edge of a new era. We have a choice: rise into a higher state of awareness or fall into darkness. The steps she shared aren't just practical, they're profoundly spiritual. They're meant to prepare us not only for the outer turmoil, but for the inner changes that will shape the future. Let's break them down. Step 1. Awaken your inner compass. In today's rapidly changing world, where information comes at us faster than we can process, and truth often hides beneath layers of illusion, the need to awaken our inner compass has never been more urgent. We live in an age where facts are shaped by agendas. Headlines are designed to trigger emotions rather than convey clarity, and countless voices compete for our attention. It's no wonder many feel lost or overwhelmed. But amidst this noise, there lies a subtle and powerful guide within us: our intuition. This inner knowing, quiet but persistent, is not just a mystical idea. It is a wisdom we all carry, one that transcends logic and speaks from the heart. As the author insightfully puts it, the Great Shift will be a time of illusions. What you see will not always be what is. Trust not the eyes, but the heart. This reminds us that real discernment is not about skepticism alone, but about developing a balanced awareness, where both mind and heart work in harmony. The Buddha once said, "Believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and your own common sense." This teaching aligns with the very essence of awakening your inner compass, not blindly following, but deeply listening. In practical terms, it means taking the time to pause and question, whether it's the news that provokes fear, the social trends that dictate how we should live, or even the long-held beliefs we've inherited without reflection. Developing this inner compass is a practice. It begins with cultivating mindfulness, being present with ourselves without judgment. When we regularly sit in stillness, whether through meditation or a quiet walk, without our phones, we begin to notice that inner voice that often gets drowned out. It may not shout, but it always speaks with honesty. In modern life, where speed and distraction dominate, taking moments to reconnect with this inner truth becomes not just helpful but essential. Just as a ship needs a compass to navigate stormy seas, we need this internal guide to sail through emotional confusion, social pressure, and spiritual fatigue. As the great Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh taught, the way out is in. The more we deepen our self-awareness, the more clearly we can see the world, unclouded by deception. This doesn't mean we cut ourselves off from the world. Rather, it means we learn to move through it with clarity and heart. So as you begin this journey through the Great Shift, let your first step be inward. Build trust in your own insight. Question with curiosity, not fear. Listen with openness, not haste. The world may offer many versions of the truth, but the one that will guide you best is the one that arises from the still, steady place within. That is your compass, and it will never steer you wrong. Step 2. Reconnect with ancient wisdom. As we navigate the Great Shift, a time of rapid change, uncertainty, and transformation, the second step calls us to something both powerful and deeply human, the act of remembering. The Seer urges us not to run forward blindly, but to pause and look back, to rediscover what our ancestors knew so intimately. They lived in rhythm with the earth, aware of the sacredness in the everyday, and this awareness is not outdated, it is essential. In modern life, we are constantly bombarded by noise, urgency, and a need to keep up, and in that rush we often lose our connection to something quieter but far more sustaining, wisdom that is timeless. The Seer believed that ancient knowledge holds the codes for our survival and evolution, not by rejecting progress, but by bringing depth and meaning back into our lives. This means returning to practices that once came naturally to us, sitting in stillness, observing our breath, walking gently on the earth, and recognizing that we are not separate from nature, but part of its great cycle. Meditation is not just a trend, it is an ancient tool to steady the mind. Mindfulness isn't just a stress-reducing technique. It is a way of being that roots us in the present and opens our hearts to compassion. When we light a candle with intention, when we offer gratitude before a meal, or when we observe the changing seasons with reverence, we are participating in rituals that remind us we belong to something bigger than ourselves. But this return to ancient wisdom does not mean rejecting the new. The Seer spoke of a sacred merging, where the wisdom of the past meets the discoveries of today. In this fusion, we are not choosing between old and new, we are weaving them together to form something stronger. For example, neuroscience now confirms what ancient sages taught thousands of years ago, that meditation rewires the brain, that compassion heals, and that silence nourishes the soul. Indigenous teachings about living in balance with the earth are echoed in today's conversations around sustainability and climate responsibility. The insights of mystics, once considered esoteric, are now aligning with the language of quantum physics. This is no coincidence. The universe, it seems, is guiding us back to wholeness, and it begins by listening to the wisdom that has stood the test of time. So as you move through this shift in your own life, ask yourself, what have I forgotten that my spirit still remembers? What practices bring me back to myself? Whether it's spending quiet moments in nature, reading sacred texts, or honoring the wisdom of your ancestors, these small steps are actually big medicine. In a world so obsessed with speed, it is an act of courage to slow down and return to what matters. This step is not a nostalgic glance backwards. It is a grounding force that allows us to meet the future with clarity, humility, and strength. Let ancient wisdom be your anchor as you walk this ever-changing path, and trust that the past still has something important to teach us about how to thrive today. Step 3. Build genuine connections. In the middle of this great shift, a time of deep transformation for individuals and for society, you're being called to look closely at your relationships, to ask yourself, are the people around me truly nourishing my soul? As the world leans more and more into digital spaces and surface-level interaction, it's easy to feel connected yet deeply alone. But the wisdom from ancient times, echoed by the Seer, reminds us that those who stand alone will falter, but those who unite will thrive. This is not just poetic language, it's a compass for how to survive and grow during this period of change. Real connection isn't just about being surrounded by others, it's about being seen, understood, and valued. The Buddha once said, "A good friend who points out mistakes and imperfections and rebukes evil is to be respected as if he reveals a secret of hidden treasure." That's the kind of connection you want to build, one rooted in truth, not convenience. So what does it really mean to form genuine connections? It means showing up authentically. It means listening not to respond, but to understand. It means building relationships that are based on mutual growth, kindness, and shared purpose. During a time of uncertainty, these heartfelt bonds become your anchor, your refuge, and your strength. Think about it. When life becomes chaotic, who do you turn to? Who brings calm to your storm, light to your darkness? These are the people who matter, not the ones who only reach out when they need something, not the ones who disappear when you're struggling. The seer warned of these kinds of bonds, calling them false alliances, connections formed out of fear, self-interest, or illusion. They might appear strong, but when tested, they crumble. So be mindful, look around. Are you surrounded by people who inspire you to grow, who uplift you with their presence and challenge you to be a better version of yourself? At the same time, ask yourself, am I being that kind of person for others? Because true connection isn't one-sided. It's a dance of giving and receiving, of holding space and being held. As Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully put it, the most precious gift we can offer anyone is our attention. When mindfulness embraces those we love, they will bloom like flowers. Can you see how your presence, your compassion, your sincerity can be healing to others? As we navigate the great shift, remember this: your power doesn't lie in how much you know or how much you've achieved. It lies in your ability to connect with others, with your community, and with your own heart. So take a moment, reflect. Who do you need to reconnect with? Who do you need to let go of? And most importantly, how can you show up more fully, more honestly, in the relationships that truly matter? Step 4. Embrace the unknown. Step 4 in navigating the Great Shift is perhaps the most vital and difficult of them all: learning to embrace the unknown. In a world where so much emphasis is placed on planning, structure, and certainty, stepping into the unknown can feel like walking into a storm without a map. Yet the seer reminds us with clarity and urgency that the Great Shift will not be gentle to those who try to hold on to the old ways. The Great Shift will shatter the illusions of control, she writes, calling us to recognize that control is often just that, an illusion we create to feel safe. In times of massive change, clinging to what is familiar may seem like a refuge, but in truth it becomes a weight that keeps us stuck in what no longer serves us. The future is not something we can predict or fully prepare for. It is a space we must enter with courage and flexibility. This step is not about giving up or becoming passive in the face of uncertainty. It is about shifting our mindset from fear to curiosity, from resistance to flow. To embrace the unknown is to trust in the unfolding of life, even when we can't see the full picture. Many of us in our 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s have spent decades building careers, families, and identities. We know what it means to strive and to plan. But when everything begins to change, whether it's the economy, technology, relationships, or even our sense of self, we are being asked to adapt, not just externally, but internally. That's where real transformation begins, not in the world around us, but in how we respond to it. In practical terms, embracing the unknown means loosening our grip on what we think life should look like. It means allowing space for things to unfold differently than we expected. It means welcoming discomfort as a signal that growth is near. In this modern world of constant updates and endless distractions, it's easy to seek control by overloading ourselves with information or clinging to rigid routines. But the truth is, the most meaningful shifts in life often come when we pause, breathe, and say yes to the mystery of what's next. And that requires resilience, not the hard, forceful kind, but a quiet strength that bends without breaking. Just like bamboo sways with the wind but doesn't snap, we too must learn to move with the forces of life, not against them. The great shift is not a punishment, it is a call to awaken to a deeper way of living, one rooted in presence rather than fear, in trust rather than control. For those of us navigating the middle seasons of life, this can be a powerful time to reevaluate our attachments and ask ourselves, what am I truly holding on to, and is it helping me grow? As we surrender to this flow, we begin to see that the unknown is not a void, but a field of potential. The more we open ourselves to it, the more possibilities we uncover, not just for external change, but for inner peace. So let this be a reminder. You don't have to have all the answers to move forward. You only need a willingness to take the next step, even if the path isn't fully clear. The unknown is not the enemy. It is the beginning of something new. Step 5. Prepare for the choice. This final step in navigating the great shift is perhaps the most powerful and personal of them all. It's not about a single dramatic event. It's about the series of choices we each make in our daily lives that shape not only our own future, but the collective future of humanity. The great shift isn't waiting for some cosmic signal or sudden change. It's unfolding right now, in the quiet moments, when we decide who we want to be. The Seer reminds us that each decision ripples through time, shaping the destiny of all, and that truth should not be taken lightly. Every choice, no matter how small it may seem, carries a vibration, a consequence, and an opportunity to either bring more light into the world or deepen the shadows. So the question is, what are you choosing right now? And what kind of ripple are you sending out? You may be wondering what this moment of choice really looks like. The truth is, it won't always feel grand or obvious. Sometimes it will appear as a chance to speak up for justice when it's easier to stay silent. Other times it might be a quiet act of kindness towards someone who's struggling, even when you're exhausted yourself. It might mean forgiving someone who hurt you, or taking a step into the unknown with nothing but faith in your heart. These are the sacred crossroads, the unseen turning points that carry great weight. And often they arise not during peaceful, easy times, but in the middle of discomfort, fear, or uncertainty. That's when your inner compass is tested. So ask yourself, when life puts you in that moment, what will you choose? Will you act out of love or fear? Will you uphold truth or compromise it? Will you build bridges or burn them? The Seer's message is a gentle but urgent call to awareness. She's not telling us what to choose, she's reminding us that we must choose. There is no neutral ground when it comes to the evolution of consciousness. Avoidance is a choice, indifference is a choice, and right now our world doesn't need more passivity. It needs people who are awake, aware and willing to take responsibility for the energy they bring into every interaction. Now, that doesn't mean being perfect. It means being present, being intentional, and staying connected to what really matters. Because as the world shifts and old structures fall away, we're being asked to become the architects of what comes next. Are you ready to hold that responsibility with care and courage? So the lesson here is clear. The great shift is not something happening to us, it's something happening through us. Your daily choices matter. They create patterns, build momentum, and define the future we're all stepping into. You don't need to wait for a sign. The moment of choice is already here. Stay rooted in your values. Let compassion be your guide. And when the time comes to act, and it always will, choose wisely, knowing that your choice is part of something far bigger than yourself. As we stand on the edge of the unknown, one truth becomes clear. The future isn't just something we wait for, it's something we shape, moment by moment, choice by choice. Amazon. Whether you see these predictions as prophecy or reflection, the deeper message remains the same. Awaken your inner wisdom, stay grounded in compassion, and prepare your heart for change. The most important shift isn't just in the world, it's in you. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this video stirred something in you, please like, share, and subscribe to the Journey of Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss part 3 and more powerful insights ahead. Until next time, stay mindful, stay kind, and remember, awareness is power.